Welcome back to the channel Rare Coins All World, where we uncover hidden treasures in the world of numismatics. Today, we've got a special coin to talk about, the 1971 Washington quarter dollar. Now, most of us are familiar with the classic design of the Washington quarter, but what makes the 1971 version stand out from the rest? Is it just another regular quarter, or does it have something unique that could make it worth a fortune? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll be amazed by what you might be holding in your pocket. Let's start with a quick look at the design of the 1971 Washington quarter. The front of the coin, as you probably know, features the iconic bust of George Washington, the first president of the United States. Surrounding his image are the words, "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," along with the year the coin was minted. On the reverse side, you'll find a depiction of an eagle in flight with an olive branch in its talons, symbolizing peace, strength, and freedom. The eagle, along with the coin's outer inscription, "United States of America," and "E Pluribus Unum," makes it a truly patriotic and historical piece. Now, most 1971 Washington quarters were struck in large numbers, which means they aren't exactly rare in the traditional sense. However, as with most coins, it's not just about the year or the design that determines a coin's value, it's about rarity, condition, and minting errors that can drastically increase a coin's worth. Let's dive into some of the rarest features that could make your 1971 Washington quarter a highly sought-after collector's item. First, let's talk about minting errors, because those are what really get collectors excited. Minting errors happen when a coin is struck incorrectly during the production process, and they can come in many forms. For example, one of the most exciting errors to look for is an off-center strike. This occurs when the coin isn't aligned properly with the die, causing part of the design to be missing or shifted to the side. These coins are highly collectible because they're unique, and the more off-center the strike, the more valuable the coin can be. Another error you'll want to keep an eye out for is a double die error. This happens when a coin is struck twice, but in slightly different positions, causing a doubled effect on the design. It's easy to spot a double die error when the lettering and details on the coin appear blurry or doubled. A 1971 Washington quarter with a double die error is definitely something you'd want to have in your collection, as it could fetch a premium price at auction. Another mistake that can make your 1971 Washington quarter worth more than its face value is a repunched mint mark. If the mint mark on your coin, indicating the location where it was minted, is stamped multiple times, that can make the coin rare and valuable. These types of errors are much rarer and can increase a coin's worth significantly, especially if it's in good condition. Now, let's talk about condition. Like most coins, the condition of a 1971 Washington quarter is a huge factor in determining its value. Coins that have been circulated extensively often show signs of wear, scratches, and discoloration, which reduce their value. However, a quarter that has been well preserved, with minimal wear, sharp details, and vibrant coloring, is a lot more desirable. If you find a 1971 Washington quarter that looks almost brand new, you might be sitting on a potential goldmine. Speaking of condition, professional coin grading plays a huge role in determining a coin's value. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect coin. Coins that are graded at a higher level, like MS 65 or MS 66, are often worth a lot more than their counterparts in lower grades. A 1971 Washington quarter in uncirculated or near mint condition can be worth hundreds of dollars, depending on the grading. So, what does all this mean for the 1971 Washington quarter? While most of these coins are still relatively inexpensive, a rare minting error or a coin in exceptional condition can push the value of your 1971 Washington quarter into the tens of thousands of dollars. For example, a 1971 Washington quarter with a rare error or one that has been graded in mint condition could be worth an astounding $73,000. Yes, you heard that right, $73,000 for a single 1971 Washington quarter. It may seem unbelievable, but in the world of coin collecting, it happens all the time. Coins with unique characteristics, especially those with errors or that are in pristine condition, can command astronomical prices. Now, I know what you're thinking. How do I know if I have one of these rare 1971 quarters? The key is to take a close look at your coin and examine it carefully. Look for any unusual minting errors, such as off-center strikes, double strikes, or repunched mint marks. Also, check the condition of the coin. Is it worn and tarnished, or does it look like it just came out of the mint? A coin in great condition, especially one with an error, can be extremely valuable. If you think you found a rare 1971 Washington quarter, your next step should be to have it appraised by a professional. A coin expert will be able to examine your coin and give you a better idea of its value. And who knows, you may just have a hidden treasure on your hands. So, whether you're a seasoned collector or a casual coin enthusiast, the 1971 Washington quarter is definitely worth keeping an eye on. From minting errors to well-preserved specimens, this coin has a lot to offer in terms of rarity and value. Remember, the next time you're going through your spare change or going through old coin collections, make sure to take a closer look at any 1971 Washington quarters. You might just have a rare coin that could fetch an unbelievable price. To wrap up, remember that the value of a 1971 Washington quarter can vary depending on its condition, the presence of any minting errors, and its overall rarity. But with the right characteristics, this quarter can be worth a jaw-dropping $73,000. Keep your eyes peeled, your magnifying glass ready, and who knows, you might just strike gold with that next coin you find. Today's video is one you definitely don't want to miss. We're diving deep into one of the most fascinating coins in American history, the 1965 Washington quarter dollar. Now, you might be thinking, it's just a regular quarter, right? Well, not quite. This coin has a history, a rarity, and a few unique qualities that make it a potential goldmine for collectors. First, let's talk about the year 1965. It's a pivotal time in U.S. coinage history. The United States was in the middle of a major transition in terms of currency. You see, prior to 1965, most U.S. quarters, dimes, and half dollars were made primarily of silver. However, in 1965, due to a national coin shortage and rising silver prices, the U.S. Mint decided to eliminate silver from many of its coins and replace it with a copper-nickel-clad composition. This change meant that the quarters minted in 1965 and onward would no longer contain the silver content that previous issues had, which immediately raised questions among collectors about the potential impact this change would have on the value of the coins. Now, most 1965 quarters were struck in the new copper-nickel composition, and while these coins were produced in large quantities, there's something that sets a certain group of these quarters apart: errors. Yes, some 1965 Washington quarters were struck with mistakes, and it's these errors that have earned this coin a place in the hearts of collectors and a spot on the wish list of many numismatists. These errors are what make the 1965 quarter a rare and valuable find. Let's get into the specifics. One of the most coveted errors in 1965 quarters is the no mint mark error. Now, for most U.S. coins, the mint mark, the small letter that indicates where the coin was minted, either Denver, Philadelphia, or San Francisco, is crucial. In 1965, most quarters were struck in Philadelphia and did not carry a mint mark, but there was a rare batch of coins that were mistakenly minted without the Philadelphia mint mark when they should have had one. These rare coins, with the missing mint mark, are incredibly sought after by collectors, but it doesn't stop there. Another fascinating error that can increase the value of your 1965 quarter is the double die error. A double die error occurs when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned during production, resulting in a doubling of the design. This means that the lettering, the date, and other details on the coin will appear blurry or duplicated. If you can find a 1965 quarter with a double die error, you could be sitting on a rare gem. The more obvious and noticeable the doubling is, the higher the coin's value could be, and then there's the off-center strike, another error that can make the 1965 quarter highly valuable. This occurs when the coin isn't properly aligned with the die, resulting in part of the design being struck off-center. The more off-center the strike, the more appealing the coin becomes to collectors. Imagine finding a 1965 quarter where the design is only half visible, with part of George Washington's portrait missing. That's a coin that could catch the attention of major collectors and potentially fetch a serious price. So, how much could a 1965 Washington quarter be worth? Well, most 1965 quarters are worth just their face value of 25 cents, but if you're lucky enough to find one with a significant minting error, like a missing mint mark, double die, or off-center strike, the value can increase dramatically. In fact, some of these rare and error-ridden 1965 quarters have been known to sell for $84,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $84,000 for a single 1965 Washington quarter. That's a pretty hefty sum for a coin that most people might overlook in their pocket change, but why are coins like these worth so much? It all comes down to rarity and demand. Collectors are constantly looking for coins with unique characteristics, and errors in minting are some of the most prized features. Coins with minting errors are not only rare but also have a certain historical significance. The 1965 Washington quarter marks the end of an era in U.S. coinage, and errors from this period reflect a fascinating moment in the history of American currency. Now, I know what you're thinking: how do I know if I have a rare 1965 Washington quarter in my collection? It's simple: start by inspecting your quarters closely. Look for any signs of minting errors like the missing mint mark, double die, or off-center strike. If you notice any unusual features, take your coin to a professional appraiser or coin dealer for a thorough examination. If your coin is in good condition and shows signs of an error, you could be looking at a potential windfall. It's also important to note that the condition of the coin is crucial. A 1965 Washington quarter in excellent, uncirculated condition is always going to be worth more than one that's worn and scratched from years of circulation. The better the coin's condition, the higher the price it could fetch. For any serious coin collector, finding a rare 1965 Washington quarter could be a game changer. Whether you stumble upon one in your pocket change or you inherit it from a relative's collection, this coin could be worth a small fortune. But remember, rarity is key. The more unique and well-preserved the coin is, the more valuable it becomes. So, the next time you're flipping through coins or searching through a jar of loose change, don't just dismiss that 1965 Washington quarter. It could be the one that changes your life. With the potential to be worth $84,000, this coin is one that every collector should have on their radar. Today, we're diving into a coin that might just be sitting in your collection right now, or perhaps it's waiting to be discovered in a random roll of quarters. Today, we're talking about the 1991 Washington quarter, a coin that might look simple on the surface, but has a fascinating history and some surprising rarities that make it worth way more than you might think. When we talk about the Washington quarter, most people picture the classic design featuring George Washington's profile. It's a staple in U.S. currency, and while it may seem like an ordinary coin, the 1991 Washington quarter holds some key features that could make it incredibly valuable. Now, you may be asking, what's so special about a quarter from 1991? Well, the answer lies in the errors and rarities that set this particular coin apart from the millions of others produced that year. Let's start by exploring the year itself. 1991 was a time when the U.S. Mint was producing massive quantities of coins to meet the needs of the economy. It was also the year that marked the 50th anniversary of the Washington quarter. To celebrate this milestone, the U.S. Mint had a special commemorative series planned for 1992, which focused on the designs of earlier quarters. But here's where it gets interesting: not every coin struck in 1991 came out perfectly. In fact, there were some noticeable minting errors that have turned this seemingly ordinary coin into something extraordinary. One of the key errors that collectors seek out in the 1991 Washington quarter is the off-center strike. This happens when a coin is not properly aligned with the die during the minting process, causing part of the design to be missing or displaced. If you come across a 1991 quarter with an off-center strike, especially one where the misalignment is quite noticeable, then you could be holding a very valuable piece of currency. The more extreme the error, the more valuable the coin can become to collectors, as it becomes a rare example of a production flaw that adds to the coin's history. Another error that collectors look for in the 1991 Washington quarter is the double die error. This error happens when the coin is struck twice, resulting in a double impression of the design. When it happens on the obverse, you'll see a double image of George Washington's face or the lettering around the coin. If you find one of these double die errors, then you've stumbled upon a coin with a fascinating flaw that was not meant to happen, and that's exactly what makes it so valuable. But even if your 1991 Washington quarter doesn't have any minting errors, you should still keep an eye out for its overall condition. Coins that are in pristine, uncirculated condition are always worth more than those that show signs of heavy wear and tear. So, if you find a 1991 Washington quarter that's in excellent shape, with sharp details and minimal scratches, it could still fetch a higher value than a worn one, especially if it's graded as MS-65 or higher by a professional coin grader. Now, let's get down to the fun part. How much could your 1991 Washington quarter be worth? Well, it all depends on the specific characteristics of your coin. For most 1991 quarters, they are worth their face value of 25 cents. But if you've come across a quarter with an off-center strike, double die error, or it's in immaculate condition, you could be looking at a coin worth thousands of dollars. Believe it or not, the 1991 Washington quarter has been known to sell for $74,000. That's right, you could be sitting on a small fortune if you've got one of these rare coins. So, why is a 1991 Washington quarter worth so much? It's all about rarity and demand. Coins with minting errors are highly sought after because they are incredibly rare. Collectors love finding unique pieces that tell the story of a mistake made during the production process. It's this rarity that drives up the price and makes coins like the 1991 Washington quarter highly collectible. Additionally, coins in top-notch condition are also in high demand, which means that even without errors, a well-preserved quarter could still bring in a significant amount of money. If you're now itching to check your coin jar or rummage through your collection, don't just rush through it. Take your time to inspect each coin carefully, especially any quarters from 1991. Look for signs of errors like the off-center strike or double die, and make sure to assess the overall condition of the coin. If you come across one that seems like it could be a winner, don't hesitate to get it professionally graded. A certified coin is more likely to fetch top dollar, and it adds credibility to the value of your find. But let's not forget, even if you don't find a 1991 Washington quarter with errors, don't be discouraged. Coin collecting is about the thrill of the hunt, and you never know when you might stumble upon a valuable piece. Plus, even without errors, the Washington quarter has always been a classic piece of American coinage. It's a reminder of history, of George Washington's legacy, and of how coins can carry stories and values far beyond their face value. In the world of coin collecting, finding a 1991 Washington quarter in good condition or with rare minting errors could truly make you a lucky collector. The value of these coins may be underestimated by the average person, but for those who understand the significance of these minting flaws, they hold a special place in the market. To sum it up, whether you found a quarter in your pocket change or you're thinking about purchasing one for your collection, always be on the lookout for the rare and valuable 1991 Washington quarter. It could be worth far more than you ever expected, with some of these quarters fetching as much as $74,000. Today's video is going to be an absolute treat. We're diving into a coin that may look familiar, but trust me, this one has some hidden secrets that make it worth far more than you might expect. Today, we're talking about the 1979 Washington quarter. Now, at first glance, the 1979 Washington quarter might seem like just another quarter from the late 70s. But let me tell you, there's more to this coin than meets the eye. The Washington quarter has been a staple of U.S. currency since it was first introduced in 1932, and while the design may have remained relatively the same over the years, certain years, like 1979, have become highly sought after by collectors. So, what makes the 1979 Washington quarter so special? Well, let's break it down. The most important thing to remember when it comes to coin collecting is that rarity is key. And while the U.S. Mint produced a significant number of 1,979 quarters, there were a few things happening in the minting process that could turn a simple quarter into a highly valuable treasure. What makes a coin rare and expensive? It's often the errors that occur during the minting process. And the 1979 Washington quarter is no exception. One of the most notable errors found in the 1979 quarter is the double die error. This occurs when a coin is struck twice by the die, resulting in a double impression on the coin. On the 1979 quarter, this error could appear on the obverse, the side with George Washington's portrait, or on the reverse, the eagle side. What makes this so valuable? Double die errors are incredibly rare, and they make a coin much more unique, giving it a collector's appeal. For many coin collectors, these kinds of flaws are exactly what they're after. After all, who doesn't love owning a piece of history that was never meant to exist? Another fascinating feature of the 1979 Washington quarter is its mint mark. While many collectors focus on the year of the coin, the mint mark is equally important in determining a coin's value. In 1979, the U.S. Mint produced quarters at two locations, Philadelphia and Denver. If your 1979 quarter has a D mint mark, it's from the Denver Mint. But if it has no mint mark at all, it was struck in Philadelphia. This difference might seem subtle, but it can have a significant impact on a coin's rarity and overall value. The more limited the production from a particular mint, the more sought after the coin becomes, but perhaps the most significant aspect of the 1979 Washington quarter is its condition. As with most coins, the better the condition, the more valuable the coin. A quarter that has been circulated heavily over the years will show signs of wear and tear, such as scratches, discoloration, or fading of the details. But a pristine, uncirculated 1979 Washington quarter, one that's been well preserved over the decades, can fetch a higher price. These coins may show little to no signs of handling, and their sharp details are highly coveted by collectors. A coin in perfect condition is like a fine work of art, and its value only increases as time goes on. If you're lucky enough to come across a 1979 Washington quarter in exceptional condition, or with one of the rare minting errors we discussed earlier, you could be holding onto a coin that's worth a lot more than just 25 cents. In fact, coins with these rare characteristics can sell for thousands of dollars, sometimes even tens of thousands, depending on the severity of the error or the condition of the coin. So, how much is a 1979 Washington quarter really worth? Well, the price can vary significantly based on the coin's condition, any errors it may have, and where it was minted. In some cases, a 1979 quarter with a double die error or other minting flaw can go for an astounding $77,000. Yes, you heard that right, $77,000. That's not a typo. If you happen to find one of these coins, it could change your life, but don't think it's just about the rare errors and minting flaws. Even a well-preserved 1979 Washington quarter that has no noticeable errors can still be worth quite a bit. Coin collectors and investors alike are always on the lookout for high-quality specimens, and the 1979 quarter has proven to be a coin that holds its value over time. As the years go by, demand for these older quarters continues to grow, and so does their price. If you're lucky enough to find a 1979 Washington quarter with a double die error or in pristine, uncirculated condition, it's definitely worth getting it appraised and professionally graded by a trusted coin expert. A certified coin can command a much higher price in the market, and it adds legitimacy to the value of your find. The 1979 Washington quarter is a perfect example of how coins that may seem ordinary on the surface can become extraordinarily valuable over time. Whether it's due to minting errors, the overall condition of the coin, or its historical significance, this particular quarter has all the ingredients needed to make it a must-have for serious coin collectors. If you've got a 1979 Washington quarter in your collection, or if you find one while searching through your loose change, take the time to carefully inspect it. Look for any signs of double die errors, check the mint mark, and assess the overall condition. It just might be worth more than you think. To wrap things up, the 1979 Washington quarter is a coin that offers plenty of excitement for collectors. Whether you're searching for a rare minting error, looking for a pristine example to add to your collection, or simply trying to learn more about the fascinating world of coin collecting, this coin has a lot to offer. Remember, the more you know about these coins, the better equipped you are to spot those hidden gems. So, if you found a 1979 Washington quarter in excellent condition or with a minting error, you could very well be holding a piece of history worth a hefty sum. A coin like this could be worth as much as $77,000. Today we have a fascinating coin to explore, one that might surprise you with its value, even though it's only a few years old. We're talking about the 2021 Washington quarter dollar, a coin that has gained serious attention in the collecting community. It may be hard to believe, but the 2021 Washington quarter could be worth far more than its face value of just 25 cents. Stick around, because we're going to dive deep into what makes this coin so rare and valuable. Now, you might be thinking, wait a minute. 2021? Isn't that a modern coin? Yes, it is, but here's the thing, certain years, even relatively recent ones, have coins that are highly collectible. The 2021 Washington quarter is a prime example of this phenomenon, and today we're going to explore exactly why that is. Let's start by talking about the design. The Washington quarter has been around since 1932, and over the decades, the design has undergone a few changes. But in 2021, the U.S. Mint introduced a brand new design series to commemorate the National Park Service's 100th anniversary. The coin features a stunning image of George Washington, but it also includes some new elements that are specific to the national park designs. While these changes in design are interesting in their own right, they're not the main factor that makes the 2021 Washington quarter special. What truly sets this coin apart from others is the potential errors and rarity that can significantly increase its value. Errors in coin production have always been a huge draw for collectors, and the 2021 quarter has had its fair share of these rarities. Most coin errors are the result of something going wrong during the minting process, perhaps a misaligned die or even a mistake in the planchet used to strike the coin. These errors are what give coins their unique characteristics, and sometimes, they can push a coin's value through the roof. The most common and sought-after error in the 2021 Washington quarter is the double die. This is where the die that stamps the coin gets misaligned, causing a doubling effect on the coin's design. Imagine George Washington's portrait or the lettering on the reverse side showing up twice, one image slightly off-center from the other. Double dies are incredibly rare, and collectors are willing to pay top dollar for these coins because of their uniqueness. The more pronounced the doubling, the higher the value. And with modern technology and equipment, collectors are increasingly able to spot these kinds of errors, which only adds to their value. Another potential error to keep an eye out for is a misstrike, when the coin is struck with too much force or not enough, creating an uneven imprint. This can cause some pretty fascinating visual effects, like a blurry or distorted image on the coin, making it stand out from the rest. While not as common as double die errors, misstrikes are another way to add a little bit of extra value to a 2021 Washington quarter. Now, aside from errors, condition is another huge factor when it comes to determining the value of any coin, and the 2021 Washington quarter is no exception. Coins that are in mint condition, that is, they show no signs of wear, scratches, or discoloration, are much more valuable than those that have been in circulation. In fact, coins that are graded as proof or uncirculated are typically the most sought after. A proof coin is struck with a special process to create sharp, clean images and mirror-like finishes, while uncirculated coins show no signs of wear from being used in daily transactions. The 2021 Washington quarter also features the classic design elements we've all come to love: George Washington's portrait on the obverse front, and a stunning depiction of an eagle on the reverse back. These elements have made the quarter a lasting symbol of American heritage and pride. But as more and more people begin to appreciate the value of coins from specific years, including 2021, the rarity of a well-preserved or error-laden coin only increases over time. So, what can you expect in terms of value if you come across a 2021 Washington quarter that stands out from the rest? Well, if you happen to find one with a double die error or in mint condition, you could be looking at a coin worth significantly more than just a quarter. And here's the exciting part: $66,000. Yes, you heard that right, $66,000. That's the kind of value a rare 2021 Washington quarter with significant minting errors or in pristine condition can fetch at auction or through private sales. If you're lucky enough to find a 2021 Washington quarter with a clear error or in flawless condition, you might want to get it professionally graded by an expert. A certified coin, with an official grade, is always more valuable than an ungraded one, and collectors pay close attention to the certification when making their purchase decisions. Coin graders will assess the condition, any potential errors, and the overall quality of the coin, which will ultimately determine its value in the market. Let's recap what makes the 2021 Washington quarter so exciting. First, the year itself, as it marks a special moment in U.S. history with the celebration of the National Park Service's 100th anniversary. Then, we have the potential errors, like the double die and misstrikes, that can add rarity and value to this seemingly simple coin. And don't forget about the pristine, uncirculated coins that are always in high demand for coin collectors and enthusiasts. Coins like the 2021 Washington quarter are a perfect example of why coin collecting is such a fascinating and rewarding hobby. Whether you're just starting your collection or you've been collecting for years, there's always something exciting to discover. So, if you come across a 2021 Washington quarter in your change or in a roll you're searching through, take a moment to inspect it carefully. Look for any errors, assess the condition, and if it's in pristine shape, it might just be worth more than you ever imagined. And if you happen to find one with a significant error or in top-notch condition, you could be holding onto a coin that's worth $66,000. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 2021 Washington quarter and all the exciting possibilities it offers, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with your fellow coin collectors. Keep searching, keep collecting, and who knows, your next treasure could be just around the corner. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.